Over the last few seasons, popular streamer Tyler1 has been grinding solo queue in an effort to reach Challenger in each role, and this has led to a lot of people asking the question, what is the easiest role to climb in League of Legends solo queue? So I set out to do some research on each role and what the top players in the game have to say about it. I then came up with a ranking for each role based on its ease of climbing the solo queue ladder. My main source of information on these rankings comes from hours of how to climb in X position YouTube videos, interviews, clips from streams of top players voicing their opinions, and my own solo queue experiences. Remember, this video has to do with the ease of carrying in each role in solo queue. Professional and competitive play would have different rankings, as the environment in which they are played are completely different. So without further ado, let's get into the rankings. In 5th place, we have the hardest role to climb solo queue, bot lane AD carry. This role has the least agency in the early game, with their lane being mostly dictated by the support matchup. In early skirmishes, CC, peel, and shielding are typically the factors that determine the victor, and the supports are going to be the ones providing this as well as the engages. Going hand in hand with the fact that supports dictate the lane, how your jungler reacts to your lane will have a large effect on how strong you come out of lane as well. If you have no prio in your lane and are being constantly pushed under tower, you will obviously be down in farm and never really have a chance to kill your lane opponents. One lane matchup that would have this occur, assuming both bot lanes are of similar skill, would be Twitch Lulu versus Draven Leona. Once you get into about gold, the Draven-Leona duo will know how to slow push and crash giant waves into your tower, potentially zoning you off of XP, gold, and taking a ton of plating. In this scenario, if their jungler shows up when a large wave is being crashed, there is a large chance that you will be dove 3v2 with very little chance of getting a kill back. This is why junglers covering large wave crashes or coming for dives when you are crashing a wave is so important, especially bot side. It can have a huge impact on whether or not you will be able to play the game. Other reasons why it is so difficult to carry solo queue games as an AD carry is the fact that you are in a long lane. This means that it is easy to get zoned off of XP or CS when the other team gets a lead, and wave management can lead to ganks or 2v2 kills. You are squishy at all points in the game, and unless you are playing Ezreal, there is really no good defensive itemization at all for bot laners. This means that at any point, no matter how fed you are, if you are out of position, even the 0-6 Camille can punish you. You are naturally behind in XP compared to the solo laners because you are sharing XP with the support. This makes it quite difficult to side lane against solo laners after laning phase, meaning that most of the time in low elo, you will either be getting killed in the side lane, trying to maximize your lead by farming or sharing CS and XP with your whole team that just ARAMs after the first tower is taken. Now don't get me wrong, it is nowhere near impossible to carry from the bot AD carry role, and in very low elo, because of the lack of skill by both teams, games will go on until about 45 minutes pretty often, and you will definitely get a chance to carry the game-deciding team fight. Riot has also added a bit more agency to bot lane with the new TP changes that they introduced. These changes allow bot lanes that are stomping their opponent to actually be able to take plates after a double kill without worrying about the top laner and jungler showing up behind you with no escape. In 4th place, we have the top lane. Top is the most snowball lane in League of Legends and is usually decided either in draft or in the first 4 minutes of the game. Counter picks come into play the most in the top lane because it is a solo lane and a long lane. Like bot lane, wave management can completely end the game for you or your opponent if done correctly. Top laners are often bruiser champions, which can be extremely coin flip. When a bruiser gets ahead, oftentimes they can just out-heal anyone else on the map in a 1v1 or 1v2, while still doing just as much damage as a carry up until late game. One major win condition, especially in solo queue, is the Dragon Soul, which as a top laner with the new TP changes, you will have very little impact on early game. The strength that top lane has is the fact that if they are able to build a lead, unless an opponent got extremely fed, there will be often nobody in the game that can 1v1 you, which makes you an extremely effective split pusher. You are also near the Rift Herald, which a fed bruiser can easily take solo while the enemy jungler is bot side. With the new objective bounties that Riot has added into the game, split pushing well can bring your team back into the game even more so than in previous seasons. The only reason why it is easier to carry from top than it is from AD carry is because top laners do not rely on the extra variable that is another player in their lane. In third place, we have the jungle position. I would consider jungle to be the mentally toughest role where tilting or arguing with your team will usually have a large impact on your game. The jungle position is probably the position that has the highest skill floor for a lot of popular champions, but also the highest skill ceiling. As the jungler, it is your responsibility, even more so than other roles, to be in position for objectives on time. As discussed already in this video, the jungler often has a large impact on the laner's game just by being at the right place at the right time. Because of this, without basic understanding of jungle pathing or gank timings, even players with good mechanics can be easily jungle diffed by an Amumu who knows where to be. On the flip side of this, learning simple paths of the most played champions in this role can get you some easy wins through invading, counter jungling, or counter ganking in low elo. One of the main strengths of the jungle position is that you can pick any kind of champion in this role, from assassins to marksmen to tanks. You can decide whether you want CC, high damage potential, tankiness, stealth, or even support and shielding. This offers a lot of flexibility in draft as opposed to roles like AD carry, who are basically glass cannons no matter what champ they play. Another strength of the jungle position is that you have the opportunity to play through whatever lane is winning. You are not restricted to the lane that you are assigned and can help the players on your team that are able to carry do so by influencing good matchups. Finally, the jungler has access to a lot of gold without needing to interact with the enemy team. Your farming is done primarily without being contested, and you often have the opportunity to collect gold and XP from lanes, especially in low elo, where solo kills and badly timed recalls occur often. This allows you to never really be out of the game and always have some sort of way to make gold. In second place, we have the support role. The support role really has one major downside, which is it is the lowest damage role in the game typically. In low elo, you can get away with spamming Zyra, Lux, Xerath, Brand, and Swain, but once you play against people that know how to shut down these supports, it gets much harder to lane with these champs, which is why we do not see much of them in pro play. There are two main ways to carry through the support position: winning lanes super hard and getting your AD fed as hell, and roaming with your jungler, making every other lane hell for the solo laners on the other team. Nothing tilts the enemy top laner more than losing a fight level 3 because the enemy bard portals in to stun and ignite them. Like the jungle position, you have every type of champion to choose from. You have an assassin in Pyke, tanks in CC in Leona and Nautilus, consistent damage in Senna, healing in Sona, and shielding and peel in Lulu and Rakan. As the support, you are also inherently given the ability to set up vision with your support item turning into a ward stone after you earn 500 gold. Vision control is extremely underutilized in lower elos, and using simple vision manipulation can really increase your win rate. If you're winning your lane, don't be afraid to pink a bush when the opponent backs or dies, and just kill them again when they face check, because low elo players are like babies that forget you are there if they can't actively see you. Another strength of supports is the fact that you don't need to farm to get gold. Your income will come from your support item and kills or assists, which opens your time to roam and or poke a lot. Oftentimes, in the bot lane, the control of the lane depends on how the supports interact. It is important to understand how you are supposed to play the lane as the support. For instance, if you are playing as Leona with Sivir into Thresh Draven, you want to play much more as a peel champion than an engage champion, because even on the best engages, you're probably losing that all in without Sivir getting enough poke off first. Whereas, if you're playing on the other side, even though Thresh is much more of a peel champion, because of the AD matchup, you want to be fishing for engages even if it's on Leona. Now I want to talk about maybe one of the biggest mistakes that supports make regarding roaming, People often hear Challenger players talk about mid roaming and how all you have to do to win every mid lane is shove and roam. This causes many support players who don't understand wave management to try and shove their wave to the other half of the lane before roaming, which is probably the worst thing they can do. The reason that this is so bad is because if the opposing duo has a brain, they will just zone off your AD from farm and XP by not pushing back into you. Your 3 timers to roam are when the wave crashes into your turret and the opposing duo recalls, after you have crashed the wave under your opponent's turret, and after recalling or respawning after a fight when the wave is not frozen in a bad spot or pushing into your opponent. Remember, the primary reason why you start in the bot lane to begin with is to allow your ADC to farm safely. If they are being zoned off XP and gold, you are not doing your job, even if you are getting kills elsewhere. Finally, we make it to our number 1 role for carrying games in solo queue, the mid lane. There are a few things that set the mid lane apart from every other role, and those are the fact that you are in a short lane, you are near both major objectives during all of laning phase, you have the ability to roam to both side lanes, and you have the widest champion pool to choose from of any position. There are no downsides to being the mid laner, and you can play literally any champion mid blind and be fine. Are there bad matchups? Sure. Are there any unplayable matchups? No. You can play hyper carries, control mages, tanks, assassins, marksmen, supports, literally anything. The reason you can get away with these picks is because you are in a short lane. If you use basic warding and wave management, you should never really die to ganks. If you are put into a bad matchup, you can just choose not to interact with your opponent. Think of the worst matchup you can possibly come up with. Are you playing Orianna into an assassin? Buy a tier and spam abilities into the wave. If they roam without pushing the wave, go ahead and take a turret plate. Playing an assassin into a tank? Shove the wave and roam. Playing Blitzcrank? R the wave and roam bot, or put a pink in one of the river bushes and repeat kill your opponent with your jungler. You're getting solo XP, you're safe, and you are close to everything you need to fight over. There's not much more to say about the mid lane, because it's just nothing but sunshine. In conclusion, while it is possible to carry from every role in League of Legends, it varies greatly how easy it is to do so. Roles that have lower impact in the early game, like ADC and top lane, have a harder time carrying than roles like mid or jungle. Whereas the role that is commonly viewed as low impact, support, actually dictates the outcome of the game much more than you might think. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video and want to see more content like this, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button. If you didn't like it, tell me why in the comments, and maybe I'll utilize those changes in the future.